This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we are going to continue with the exception part. First, we are going to see the throw and throws difference. Generally, throw is used to define inside the method. By using throw keyword, use it to at least you can say two differences. That is enough. Create an exception object manually inside method block. This is one. Another one, by using throw, you can handle unchecked exceptions. Third one, by using throw, we can handle single exception at a time. We cannot handle multiple exceptions. Here, coming to throws, throws is used to create an exception, or we can use it for multiple exceptions. It is a method signature, or you can say simply throws is a method signature. You can handle checked exceptions. Here unchecked, here checked exception. Unchecked exception, what are their unchecked exceptions? We'll get at runtime. Checked exceptions at compile time. Then by using throws, we can handle multiple exceptions. This is the main difference you can say. At least two points also fine. Okay. Then if you see the exact hierarchy, how it is going to work, right? Exception. Let's take this one. Okay, just remember this diagram so that you can answer any kind of questions in exception handling. Okay, first it is going to start with here this will be it is this size. Okay, first we are going to draw the object. Okay, from object each and everything is derived in Java. Okay, it is going to start with object, then from object we will get the throwable. Throwable is the class. This is the parent class to the all exceptions. From throwable class they derived all exceptions. Then from throwable we have okay, from throwable we are going to get the This one is exception. Then this is error. Okay. Again, from exception we have different kinds. One is checked exceptions, another one unchecked exception. I will share this diagram later, okay? Just try to understand how it is going to handle. Here we have compile time exceptions and also known as checked exceptions. In interview they will ask you when can this checked exceptions will occur. Checked exceptions always occur at compile time. We have different categories as well under checked exceptions. Mainly we are going to deal with the files, right? Okay. Already we saw examples. If file is not available, then you can see the IO exception. Under IO exceptions, we have a file not found exception. Okay, SQL exceptions. You can say these two example under checked exceptions. One is IO exception and SQL exception. If you want to connect with the database and if you want to retrieve data, then you are unable to connect with the data type, then it will give the compile time exception. Then again we have runtime exceptions from here. These are runtime exception. This is one class as well, runtime exception. From runtime exception, okay, we can see different exceptions: arithmetic, null pointer. See, 99% they will ask this question whether they will ask difference between throw and throws or checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. At least you can able to say two examples. One is IO exception, another one SQL exception. These are checked exceptions. Under runtime exception, this is also called as compile time or runtime unchecked exception. You can say arithmetic and then array index out of bounds exception. Okay, these two you can able to answer at least. This is the class. Okay, it is derived from throwable. Okay, throwable also derived from object. Okay, now try to create more examples and understand how exactly try-catch block is going to work. Before going, okay, I want to complete array as well because we are going to see array index out of bound exception. You need to understand this concept. Generally, array is a fixed size. We need to define how many elements you want to store. Then here we have zeroth index. Okay, already we saw right in string how it is going to store elements. Name equal to string. In zeroth index, p will be stored. E, that is in first index, second index. Same way, arrays also. This is the indication. Okay, this is one dimensional array. Reference equal to new array. Two ways we can define. Okay, arrays. It will store same kind of objects. Okay, if you want to store multiple elements, right? By using integer, we can't store multiple elements. We can store only one value. I want to store multiple integer sets of data using array. Okay, let's create example. org dot Gemini dot array example. Here, create one class array example one. Okay, inside main method, I'm going to create directly. Suppose I want to store integer numbers in array. This is the syntax. Int numbers equal to 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 50. Okay, this is one way to declare array directly. Another way you can store like this: int student roll numbers equal to new int. Suppose, okay, present I have 10 students in my school. Okay, I want to register those 10 number of students. I can define like this. Whenever you are defining any array, okay, we are going to initialize size like this. Here what we are doing, we are assigning values. Here just we initialize the array, yet to assign the values. Okay, try to understand this. Two ways we can define array: directly we can set the values. Then this is the array initialization, yet to assign the values. Now how we are going to assign values? This is the reference, right? By using reference, you need to define in 0th index store 101 roll number. Like that, how many we can store? Okay, suppose I'm new to coding, right? I don't know. I'm going to initialize from one value. Okay, 1 to 10. 2. Okay. Then here we are going to give 3. Like this, I am going to set 10 value because array size is 10, right? While initializing array, I defined I am going to store 10 values. That is 10 student roll numbers. Now, total 9. Okay. Then 10th one. 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Here 104, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I am going to print the values from array using for loop. What is the syntax for loop? Initialization, that is index integer I equal to 0, I less than student roll number. We have method in array dot length method. See, here we are going to give I plus plus. Then we are going to print the values. This is the student reference we have. Array, right? We are going to give the symbol. Okay. Now try to execute and see. Run as Java application. It will throw exception because exception in main method. What is the exception it is showing? Java.lang.array index out of bounds exception. Okay, index 10 out of bound exception for length 10. We have only length 10, but we are trying to access the 10th value. Let me comment this one and see whether it will execute or not. Run as Java application. Yes, it is executing now. Okay. Why it is printing 0? See, Here we gave any zero value? No, right? But still it is giving 0. From where it is getting? Here what is happening, right? Okay. It is trying to print the zeroth element. We did not assign any value, right? By default, what is the value for integer? It is 0. If you are not assigning any value, right? Okay. System will assign default value to that particular index like this. Okay, suppose I am going to comment this one. I am going to set only 5 values. Now see. Default what will set? Okay. Here in zeroth index, by default it is setting 0 value. Then remaining already we are giving the values. Again, it will set the default 0 value. Okay. Always it is going to start with index 0, right? Okay. You need to define the 0th value. Then from there to 9. If you give 10, right, again it will throw exception. Any doubts in this array? This is also important concept. In each and every interview, they will ask one integer array program or string array. In zeroth index, we are going to set the value. Let me change this as 0. And as Java application, now it will print. See, zeroth index, it is setting value 110. Then, as it is printing. Okay. Why I am giving for loop from 0, right? Because I want to print from 0th value. That's why I am giving 0. If you are giving 1, right? Let's see what will happen. From first index it will print. It will ignore the 0th index value. That's why while printing from array, always you need to give from 0th index. If you are not assigning any value, system will assign the default value. Okay, this roll number, unfortunately his health is not good. Okay, or his father got transferred to some other location. He is going to replace with another student. Okay, how we are going to replace? I am going to change this value. Okay, earlier we have this value. Now we replaced with 111. Now see. Okay, like this. This value will always replaced with updated one. It will ignore now. This student is no longer available. He shifted to another plane. That's why we are going to take another new student. Now we are can't able to see 109 right side because we changed that value. If you are giving like this, no need to assign values. If you declare like this only, you need to assign values. Any doubts in this? Two ways we can declare. Okay, no need to confuse. Some people they will give directly like this. If you have values, then directly you can print that values like this. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, whether it will allow duplicate values in array, let's see whether it will allow or not. Yes, it is allowing. Sometimes they will ask in interview, I want to print the first highest number from integer array, second highest number. Then I want to print the most repeated number from integer array, and I want to remove the duplicate numbers from array. Okay, in interview they will ask lot of questions like this. Same way, suppose if I am declaring integer array, right? Okay, I can store any string values here. No, right? Whenever you are declaring any integer array, you can store only integer values. Type mismatch cannot convert from string to integer. You can't store. You can store only same set of data in array. Okay, we can store. same set of data. And also in array you can store objects as well, not only data types. Okay, generally data types we have integer, float, okay, as well as objects we can store by using string array. We can store objects as well. In interview they will ask you what is the difference between array and array list. Okay, you need to answer these points. Generally array is a fixed side. We need to define how many elements you want to store while declaring array. Then in array we can store same set of data. Then we can store objects as well in array. Okay, in collections I will tell you this concept array list. Now I am going to declare string array. This is the string array str equal to new string. Okay, this is one way to declare string. Total how many values I am going to store? I want to store 10 values. This is another way. String str students equal to. This is your wish. Either you can keep here or keep. Will allow. There won't be any issue. Here directly we are assigning the values. Inside this curly brace, right, we are assigning values. Ravi, then Kumar. Okay, total we have 3 students. Here I assigned 10 values. I am going to assign values. How to assign values? Str 0 index equal to Ravi. Str index 1, we are going to index Kumar. Str 2 equal to okay, like this we are going to assign values. Remaining I don't want to assign values and see what it is going to print. System it will allocate the default values and I equal to 0. What is the default value for string? Any guess? Already we saw examples as well. str dot length I plus plus. Here we are going to print the value using array means we need to represent like this. Now right click run as Java application. System will set default value as null. String default value is null. If you are not assigning any values, system will assign values to this. Whether it will allow duplicate values? Yes, it will allow. Same thing, right? We need to change this. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is this? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0, 9. Okay, now we are going to print. Will allow duplicate values as well. Suppose okay, in 0th index I am going to replace some value. What will happen? Whether it will print old one or new one? If you are replacing with 0th value with some other person, yes, it will take the new value. It will ignore the old one. Okay, because we replaced that student with new student. Suppose if you want to store, you don't know any idea. Okay, what kind of data you are going to get while working with application. In that case, right, okay, we can define object array. New object. Once if you are defining object, right, you can store any kind of data. Object 0, I am going to store 10. Object 0. Even the interview they will ask you, okay. Suppose if you don't know anything about, okay, what kind of data you are going to retrieve, then what is the array you are going to define? You can say, I will define object array. From object array, I am going to print the elements by using for loop. Object of 2 equal to object of 3 equal to characters, whatever wish if you want, you can do. Because we defined as object array. If you are defining string means it will store only same set of data. By using object array, you can store any set of data. By using for loop, int I equal to 0, I less than obj dot length, then I plus plus. Here we are going to print the obj of I. Right click run next. What is the default value it will set if you are not assigning any value? Objects also it will take null as default value. Okay. This is about arrays. Then exception handling, we are going to create more programs and try to understand how this exception block is going to work. New class, already created, right? Exception handling. No, okay. New package org dot scl dot exception example one. Here new class, then main method. Here now int I equal to 10. If you want, you can define like this as well. J equal to 2 comma result. In single line, you can define like this as well. Now result equal to, or I am going to print directly I J. Now we don't have any exception. It will print the output 5. Okay. Suppose I am going to change this one as 0. Now it will print the arithmetic exception. Okay. You need to handle the text, this exception. Here what we are going to do, okay, for example, program executed. Now, okay, once exception getting means it is not going to print the program executed successfully value. If there is no exception, it will print the message. Okay. Once we are getting exception also, you need to print the value. Then how can we do that? By using try catch block. Okay, we are going to inform. This is the syntax. Whatever causing exception code, right? We are going to keep inside the type block. This is the syntax. Okay, first try to define the syntax and we'll move the code. Catch, then you need to define the What kind of exception we are going to get? Already we know this exception, arithmetic E. Now this is the code. I'm going to create the exception. I will cut here from here. Now what I'm going to print, array, sorry, arithmetic exception occurred. Okay. Now we don't have any exception. It is going to print executed successfully. After getting exception also, I need to print this one. Okay. For that, what we are going to do, we created try and catch block. Now see, we are getting exception. Still, our program continues the execution. It is not going to stop here. Okay. Whenever exception occur, right, it is going to go into catch block. Here we handle the exception. Still, it is continue the execution. It won't stop the execution because we handle the exception. What kind of exception we are getting? We are aware. We are handling that exception. Okay. Clear any doubts in this? You need to understand. Okay, how it is going to work. Is it necessary to handle exception? Yes. Okay. Next, suppose I am getting this another exception. Integer mm, numbers. Directly I am assigning the values. 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40, 50. Then here I am going to print the value number of 2. Okay. Now is there any exception here? We don't have any exception. Arithmetic exception occurred. Okay, that is fine. Once exception occur, right, it is ignoring this one. See, it is not printing the number 2 value here. 0th index, first index, second index. Now okay, I will change this one as this and see Java application 5. Then it is printing the 30th value. Then program executed successfully. Now what I am going to do, here we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But I am trying to access fifth element. Obviously, this will give array index out of bound exception. Run as Java application. Yeah. See, first one it printed. Now we are getting Java index out of bound exception. We don't have any fifth element to retrieve. Okay. Now I am going to add another catch block to handle the array index out of bound exception. Array index out of bounds exception. E. Uh, can you please tell me these are checked exceptions or unchecked exceptions? Any guess from anyone? Checked exceptions will happen at compile time. Unchecked exception will happen at runtime. Any guess from anyone? These two related to the checked exceptions are runtime exceptions. Just message me in chat, okay? Whether these are checked or unchecked exceptions. No one answered, okay? Yeah. These are going to happen at runtime, right? After execution, we are going to get the exception. These are these things. These two, you can say example. We also saw null pointer exception. It will assign null value. Okay, now see 5. Then array index out of bound exception. It is going to print this one. Okay. For each and every exception, we are going to add catch block. Okay, I'm going to remove these two and defining like this and see what will happen. I'm not going to define anything. Exception. Whether it will handle or not, I'm not going to inform any. This one I will change this at 0. Okay. Till our program will be executed. Okay. Because exception, if you see here hierarchy, from exception we are going to derive this compile time exceptions and runtime exceptions. We can define exception as well. No need to define each and every exception. Suppose if you are getting 10 exceptions, right? No need to define each and every exception. Simply you can define exception as well. But this is not best practice. You need to know, okay, this code, what kind of exception it will throw. You need to handle proper exception. Okay. Any doubts in this? These are runtime exceptions. If you are defining this, yes, it will handle. What I am going to do, I am going to define throwable. Okay, see here what will happen. Yes, we can define throwable as well. See, you want to print right exactly what is happening inside this. We can do one thing. Okay, now see arithmetic exception. Initially, we are getting it will print the like this. If you want to get in detailed one, okay, under which line you are getting this one also you can follow. Directly you can define this. No need to do inside. One is what is the exception we are getting, then in which line we are getting the exception. It will give you detailed one. Or if you want to get the only message, try with different options. Okay, then only you can able to understand. E dot. We have different message as well. See, get message. It will print what kind of error. Only zero. It is ignoring what kind of exception it will cause. We are getting only message. We are ignoring the exception part. If you want to print both, you can use e message. If you want to get line number as well, you can give print stack. Okay, like this. In which line it is causing exception, it will give the detailed one. You can define throwable as well, or you cannot define object. Okay, initially it is going to start with object, right? This object we cannot define because these are the methods whatever we are using, right? E dot print stack trace. These are derived from object only. You cannot use directly object. Whether you can use this exception, throwable, even you can define this well as well, runtime exception. Except object, right? You can define anything. Yes, you can give runtime exception as well. That will give the same output. Okay, lot of combinations are there. You need to try with, then only you can able to understand. Any doubts in this? And also you need to understand this as well. Already in last class I told that example. Suppose here I have one, then try block. Inside try block I am going to define directly. I am going to give the 10 divided by 2. Then cache block. Here what kind of exception it will throw? Arithmetic exception. Arithmetic. Okay. E dot message, or directly you can print E as well. Both are fine. Now again what we are going to do? Int I equal to this reference, right? Your ways, whatever you want you can give. Number of student, roll numbers. This is your ways. You can define single word sentence you can write, but that should be meaningful. Okay, only two values. So what kind of exception? If you have an exception, this will be array index. If you don't know, right, you can give control space as well. Okay, it will give you hint. Suppose if you don't know complete syntax, type partially and give control space. It will give hint for you. But you need to import properly. You need to select proper one. Then E. E. This is the second one. After execution, I'm going to print 2. Then here, whatever exception it will cause, right, we need to define inside here. Then this will be the third one. Fourth one. Then this is the fifth one. And also you need to understand the sequence, how it is going to execute. See, first executed, then it is printing the 5. This is the output. Okay, I don't want to print value directly. I am going to throw the exception. See, we got this one. Then 3. Okay, it went inside this arithmetic exception. It is not executing this one array index out of bound exception because already we got exception here. It went to inside this catch block. Remaining, if you have 5 catch blocks also, it will ignore because already we got exception. Here we are handling that. For last one, it will print. Okay, suppose if I am giving here exception, and here we are defining array index out of bound exception. See, once after adding exception, right, it is throwing a error here. Unreachable catch block of array index out of bound. This is also an important interview question. Once if they are giving any parent exception, right, after that catch block, you should not define any child block, child exceptions. It won't allow. Here you can define parent, and here you can define parent. like this. It will allow. First child, then parent. Yes, there is no error. Because first we defined child, then we are defining parent. Yeah, it is executing. Okay, you can try hundreds of combinations like this. Create multiple catch blocks and define multiple exceptions and see how in which sequence it is going to execute the order. Any doubts in this? At least you can able to say what is checked exceptions, what is unchecked exceptions. Checked exception will happen at compile time, unchecked exception will happen at runtime. Example, you can say SQL exception, IY exception. IY exception we have file not found, those kind of exception. Here we have, and also we can use checked and unchecked exceptions as well. These are both runtime exceptions, right? That is unchecked exception. If you want, you can define file input stream. If I just equal to here. If you are able to understand, see, that's why every day I will say, please practice. If you are not practiced earlier sessions, right, it is difficult to understand now. Each and every topics are interrelated only. Whatever we are going right flow, those interrelated. That's why I am keep on saying that. Please practice. Here, now see, one I am going to keep this arithmetic exception. Now I am going to remove this catch block. Let's see, this is compile time exception. Before executing program, it is showing exception. What it is saying, we may accept this exception. Please handle it. If file is not available, we may get this exception. Adds catch catch class to the surrounding block like this. Already we have try block. We are adding the catch class. Now I am going to execute this one. Run as Java application. It will give the file not found exception because we are unable to give the file path. It will accept which file you want to read data from. You can combinedly give, okay, this is runtime exception, this is compile time exception. There is no rule that we can give only compile time exception, we can give only runtime exception. It is combination. Let me try in this way what will happen and see. Okay, arithmetic exception it is getting, it is stopping here. Parent child, okay, you need to understand this concept, otherwise you are unable to uh, handle this exception. You need to remember this hierarchy. Exceptions are derived from object class. Then this is the throwable class we have. From throwable we have exception and error. Then again exception divided to two parts. One is compile time exceptions, runtime exceptions. Compile time we have checked exceptions, IO exception, SQL exception. IO exception like file not found. Then if you don't have any format, proper format reading from data input file, you will get this exception. Then here after execution we are going to see these exceptions, arithmetic, null pointer, array index, out of bound, etc. If you are able to remember this diagram, right, usually you can answer. And also mainly they will ask what is throw and throws. These two differences. And also array also they will ask. Okay. Then finally we have finally block. Try catch finally. Try to write manually. Okay, if you are unable to write, system will give the see like this try catch block. By default it will create try catch finally everything the try finally. Don't depend on this. Okay, sometimes you need to know where you are going to have this curly brace open close, then here catch, then you need to define the which exception you are going to handle here. I'm going to define like this exception e, then finally block I'm adding. What is this finally block? This is also one of the important interview question. Okay, suppose we have int, or directly I'm going to define the arithmetic exception I am giving here. Here I am going to give this here integer array equal to 10 comma 20. Now I am going to print the third element which is it is not available in this 0 1, then third element. Okay, here what kind of exception we are handling? We are handling arithmetic exception, but we don't have any exception here. See, we got array index out of bound exception. Executed and see the difference. See, we are getting arithmetic exception here. Still, whatever code we have inside finally block that is printing. We are not handling arithmetic exception, but still, okay, whatever code we have in finally block that is executing. Simple answer you can say whether exception handled or not, whatever code available in finally block that will be executed. Whether you are handling exception or not, whatever block of statements we have in finally block that will be executed. What is the difference between final keyword finally? These two differences they will ask. Once if you are defining any variable as final, you cannot change that value. Any method as final, you cannot override that method. Any class as final, you cannot extend that class. Okay, then coming to finally block, whether exception handle or not. Here we are not handling arithmetic exception. Generally it should stop here only because it is throwing exception. But this finally block, right, it is very important. Okay, in real time we are going to use for closing browsers, then disconnecting from database. This kind of code we are going to write inside a final block. By mistakenly if we are getting any exception, unwanted exception, we don't want to take any risk. Okay, these things should be happened. It won't going to depend on this code. Okay, what it is going to inform this will be performing. It is not going to check whether exception handled or not. Whatever code we have, this will be executed. Without catch block, can we use this? In some interviews, they will ask. Yes, we can use. Without catch block, By using try finally, yes, we can do. There is no error. See, closing browsers, disconnecting from database, we are getting the array index out of bound exception. Without catch block, we can use the try and finally combination. This is also one important interview question. They will ask with the try block, with the single try block with multiple exceptions. Yes, multiple catch blocks we can use. Okay, with this we are going to complete the exception handling. Then tomorrow I am going to start with collections. Then from day after tomorrow onwards, we are going to start with testing one, actual one. Still, if anyone pending tasks are there, please complete. On daily basis, you need to download the video. Otherwise, after some time, this link will get expired. You can't able to access the video. After 2 months, if you want to refer, if you want to keep it this as reference, okay, you can't able to access. That's why on daily basis, I'm going to share that link. You can download the video and keep in one folder. For future reference, you can easily refer. If you want to prepare for interview, you can check each and every topic wise. I am going to explain from this topic. You will get the interview question like this. You need to answer. Even selenium also I am going to explain same way. Okay. As it is, practice same thing exceptions and also try more combinations and share screenshots. Okay, then see you tomorrow. Bye.